Hi fantasy managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. So in this video we're going to go through my team selection for game week 14. We'll look at transfers that I'm thinking of making, we'll look at the first 11 that gets out onto the pitch, who I'm benching, and we'll discuss captaincy options and a little bit about Haaland as well. So if you enjoy these sort of videos, make sure you hit that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and in the meantime, let's take a look. Before we have a look at game week 14 and my team selection and who I'm going to captain, I think just a recap how I got on game week 13, just to know what context and where I'm coming from. Decent week, 65 points. Crazy how congested the whole of FPL must be. So few points separating so many people this season, it seems. It seems a really competitive FPL this season, more than any other I've known. I went from 1.3 to 1.4 million to 974,000 just by having 15 points on Kurt Zuma. So that really made my game week. Captain Haaland, that was obviously a great call. No real pride or unexpected pleasure from that. It was just what it was. And what quite a boring sort of low scoring week. We picked up quite a big high rank. So we're inside the top million, which is where we were after we just wildcarded. So I want to build on that now. And my side looks pretty decent going into game week 14. I have the flexibility of 5 million in the bank, so that's great. Got one free transfer to make. And the side doesn't look too bad. I've got Gray's decent fixture, Trippier, Trent, Pope, all decent fixtures. Foden, Zaha, Pereira plays, I think, at home to Everton, that's fine. Saka against Forest. It's not so much about the players that I've got playing this week. They've all got decent fixtures. The more worry for me is the players that I haven't got playing. Forest away at Arsenal worries me because a lot of people are going to have players like Jesus, although they've been jumping off of him. An Arsenal defender, which looks like a good shout. I've got Saka. And then, as well as that, I've got Nottingham Forest. Leeds away at Liverpool. And I've only got Trent. So Salah could hurt me. Darwin, Firmino, those sort of players could end up hurting me. So I do live in fear a little bit with this side. One transfer to make. There's only 3 game weeks until the World Cup before we can start sort of scratching our side up and starting again. Doesn't worry me too much this week, and I'm looking at captaincy for Haaland. From the press conferences, we know that Pep's more or less going to say, looking at today's training session, which we don't know the answers to yet, we will assess him, and then possibly he could play tomorrow or possibly not. Guessing game with Pep. My feelings on Haaland are, and he may be different, he clearly will be ready, it looks like, for game week 15, so there's no point getting rid of him, because I definitely want him for those fixtures. Could jump off him onto Alvarez, jump back on, but then you don't know that Haaland's not going to play. Now, my impression is with Pep in the past is that he doesn't often use a lot of subs. If Haaland does not start, I don't think he's going to bring him on unless he desperately needs him. And he might need him. So if he doesn't start, I think there's a pretty good chance he's just not going to play. In which case, I'm going to captain him. Because if he starts, I want him as captain. So I'll have the captaincy on Haaland. I think the vice captaincy, I've got to decide. It could go Saka at home to Forest, who's on penalties. Forest 2 clean sheets. I'm not entirely convinced Arsenal are going to blow them away like many people are going to hope so. The other choice is, and I did it the other week, and it kind of paid off as well with Trent getting 8 points. I could go Trent again and hope for that clean sheet against Leeds. That seems pretty surefire thing. But what I don't like about defenders is in one moment, that clean sheet and your week's pretty much destroyed by losing that clean sheet. And they were lucky when I got the clean sheet against West Ham because they missed a penalty. So that could be. But other than that, there's no other standouts. I'm not sure I'd want to go Foden. I get away at Leicester. I think Leicester a decent side, but I am happy to go Haaland on. Penn's just a machine. So I'm leaving myself with a bit of an option. If Haaland doesn't start, I don't think he'll come on. And therefore, I think I might go Saka, you know. Game week 14 doesn't worry too much. This is how we line up. I could take Solanke out, and again, his injury doesn't look too bad. Bring in Jesus. That is definitely an option to cover me. He would come in, and then I'll probably end up putting someone like Mount on the bench. Game week 15, this is a bit of a problem for me. I've got Trent, Saka, and Andreas with difficult fixtures. So is Mitrovic. So is Jesus. Seem Haaland going to be captain and available for this game. But I've got a couple of difficult fixtures there. So game week 15 does pose a bit of a problem for me. Game 16, again, I'm all right. So I'm not particularly worried about that. Gomez is the other issue I've got. It's been a disaster bringing him in. The whole idea of bringing him in was that Walker got injured. Gomez was getting minutes off the bench at right back. Surely he would just come in for Walker. That was the thinking. It has not transpired. He has not got the minutes. Akanji's playing fullback as opposed to Gomez. How much longer that will continue? You do think in the next 3 weeks Gomez will get minutes in the Premier League, surely. But there's no guarantee of that. So I could move from Gomez. I've got the money to go to Cancelo. It feels like a really boring move. But that is something I could just do for 7.4. Covers that Man City defence. We know he's overperforming in terms of his XGI. 2 goals and 2 assists. He's got 0.10. That's not brilliant, but he's producing the odds. And those fixtures look so good. You would say he's nailed. Will he get rested? At some point, even the likes of Cancelo must get rested. I live in constant fear that I'll bring him in, take out Gomez, and then that's the week that Gomez suddenly start. So that does put me off a little bit. And I also do think away at Leicester, I can see Leicester scoring against Man City. Man City best defence in the division, but I do see Leicester. They're going to get chances. I do think they could score in that game. So that puts me off Cancelo a little bit. Other options I have got, as we've already alluded to before in previous videos, Dalot, 4.7, he's gone up in price. He's got 1 assist, scored in Europe this week as well. Got a bit of a goal threat, cheap. Fixtures look decent. One thing again puts me off, maybe 2 games away from home, Villa and Fulham do put me off a little bit. So I'm just going to discount Dalot for the time being. I just don't think I want to go there. Wilson at home to Villa, away at Southampton, then that Chelsea game. Again, if he's fit and he plays, he is a terrific option. Look at that XGI, 0.8. 5 goal returns in 8 games. He looks brilliant. And Newcastle playing really well. He's definitely an option. And Southampton away, is it that easy? Villa, I'm not sure what to expect. Then you've got Chelsea. It's easy to sit here and almost pick holes in every single fixture and say it's tougher than perhaps a green suggests. I just think every game in the Premier League is tough. But I guess if you're not going to target Villa at home, Southampton away, who are you going to target? The one player I do think that I'm going to end up going for is Ivan Toney. Wolves at home, definitely want to target that. Then Forest away, don't mind targeting that. For the Man City game in game week 16, I just don't need him. I can either transfer him out and bring someone else, but the fixture, my team looks pretty well set up for 16. But the week I'm struggling with is the 15, where he has the fixture away at Forest. I think I'll be happy to bring him in. I don't need to give you the whole narrative about the fact that Toney, decent price on pens, absolutely nailed to play. So I think all that, and his XGI looks decent as well. Feels a bit of a forgotten man, but 2 really good fixtures for Toney. Expect a response, hopefully, after that drubbing against Villa, but then you could also say the same for Wolves, who took a bit of a drubbing against Leicester. But at home, Toney, I think he'd be the one I am steering towards having in my side. So, if Toney comes in, Solanke comes out, even though Solanke's going to be fit probably for 15 or 16, I just don't really want to keep him in there. He has no place in the side now. So Toney comes in for game week 14 up front. Mount goes to the bench against away at Brighton. Again, it's a little bit of a risk. I think I'd rather play Andreas, the way Fulham is scoring at the moment, than have Mount away at Brighton. I think Brighton do have some defensive problems. If Veltman's not fit, it could be that they go to about 4. Could that open up a bit of space for Chelsea to attack and score goals? So I am a little bit worried about the Mount. Could just roll a transfer. But again, with the likes of Toney, game week 15, Mount has a game against Arsenal, not easy. Mitrovic and Andreas both have our City away. Saka away at Chelsea and Trent away at Tottenham. I'm struggling for players that have got good fixtures. Ending up having to play Mitrovic. Obviously, I'll have another transfer to make in game week 15. But I'm not even sure that Gomez plays. So it could be that I've still got enough money to bring Cancelo in. But I would have to play Mitrovic, possibly Saka maybe. Instead of Mitrovic, we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it. But by bringing Toney in, I've definitely got a good fixture in game week 15. In game week 16, it would look like this. But Toney can come out and I can put Mount on the bench. And I have a transfer, almost a free transfer to make for just a one-hit wonder in game week 16.3. I could easily bring in some like a Wilson, maybe not against Chelsea, but I can look at that later on. But this is how my side sets up, with Toney being my preferred option right now. That's it for this one then, guys. Let me know in the comments below, who are you transferring in for game week 14 and who is going to be your captain. We'll come back at you next week with a game review. We'll look at watch list, team selection, all that good stuff. So make sure you hit the like. Don't forget to subscribe. And in the meantime, best of luck with your game week 14 and I shall see you on the other side.